Hello, hello. Day 22 of Moon 1. So Chinese New Year was 21 days ago. This is day 22 of Moon 1. According to the Taoist calendar, we are still following the Lunar Tao by Deng Mingdao. My name is Ollie. This is Red Sun Horizons. I'm an Eastern physiotherapies practitioner from the south of England. That's Southsea, Portsmouth, UK. Okay, so day 22, using this as a prompt, obviously, and then expanding on it with other things. So I'm going to do a little bit of an extension of yesterday, today, just to go into a little bit more, slightly more, not advanced, but a slightly more detailed Qigong variations. So if you really want to if you're new to breathwork or meditation in general, then you can kind of catch up with where I'm springing forwards from. So that would be yesterday, day 21, and day 17, gates and locks. So if you watch it in like that order, 17, 21, and today's 22, you should get a kind of a lineage in that sense. So day 17, we kind of went through the 9 gates, also talking about some of the gates down the spine, why you need to have correct posture so spinal fluid can move properly and yang can properly ascend up the spine, yin can properly descend down the front. Yesterday was kind of a basic introduction to breath work, just breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth, the difference between breathing out through the mouth or breathing out through the nose. One is more about retaining qi and cultivating qi, and that's part of what we're going to expand on today. And then the breathing out through the mouth is more the catharsis, it's more the letting go, it's the more getting your body down into the parasympathetic state. Okay, so today's title from the prompt book is called Purification. So, right, at this time of the year, the weather is unstable, and great colds can alternate with sudden warmth, which we're seeing in the UK as well. There might be snow or ice on the ground. There might be harsh winds. The entire world is purifying itself, cleansing away the dead and dirty and moving towards balance. Shouldn't we do the same? Yeah. So even though as far as China is concerned, we are now in spring, it is still, it's not literally like a cut-off date, like a single line in the sand where winter becomes spring and then you don't have any of the previous weather retained or still carrying out. Okay, so one more passage from this book. So just as basic hygiene helps us control or even prevent disease, the way to establish basic spirituality is by controlling exchange. So yesterday's title was Exchange. So learning meditation begins by observing one's breath. Qigong, the art of breath training, not only uses breathing but emphasizes the importance of breathing in clean air. By that same thought, we can enhance spiritual progress by eliminating distractions and stress, and by emphasizing good activities such as reading inspiring texts, T-E-X-T-S, yes, texts. Okay, and trying to ignore a little fruit fly that is just going around. Yeah, go. Okay, so yeah, it does really kind of carry on into Qigong and breathwork nicely. So by the time I finished yesterday's video, I kind of realized I had planned for doing what I'm going to do yesterday, but it's quite nice that it fits in today because yesterday was already a 20-minute video. So day 17, yesterday's day 21, and today is an extension of those two, so you can put all those three together. So the expansion of what we did yesterday, so yes, if you breathe in through the nose, always, unless you're specifically doing a breathwork thing, which some free divers use, and is used for things like Wim Hof and some other more shamanic sort of dream work type sort of breathing. You're effectively kind of purposefully hyperventilating. Okay, so but breathing in through the nose is the most common. Breathing out through the mouth is the catharsis. Breathing out through the nose is more about retaining chi and working chi down to here, down to what we mentioned yesterday, 3 fingers below the belly button, which is the lower dantian, or chi hai as a point itself. It's technically the Svatisthana, or the sacral chakra, but the chakra is a bigger thing. So technically, to me, that's Ren 6, Ren 5, and Ren 4. So Ren 6 is a clear point of Qi, Ren 4 is a convergent point of Yin. So lots of Yin channels all converge and meet at that one point. Ren 4 is kind of further down, realistically halfway between the navel and the pubic bone, or the pubic symphysis itself. So this lower area, realistically, if you just focus on the area, you can see I've still got a bit of gut to get rid of, but if this is the belly button here, and this is the pubic bone down here, so the hand in between that whole area is what we're trying to expand. Placing your hand there gives that kind of mind-muscle connection. It gives a better guide for mind-muscle connection. You'll see this in weightlifting and all that kind of stuff as well, when people work in pairs. When someone's pushing with like say a barbell or dumbbells. I prefer dumbbells personally. But it's very easy for you to push, but then it could be your anterior deltoid that's doing the work. It could be your tricep that's doing the work. It could be the pec minor if you're doing an incline. It could be the pec major if you're doing more of a flat press, etc. If you're doing an incline and you're using all shoulder when you actually want to be using this, it kind of helps to have someone like in between each rep just going here, here, here. And it just gives you your mind, okay, that's what I need to be tensing, rather than just going with what the body knows and using the same old muscles for every type of push thing, and then you just end up with overly toned one thing and undertoned another, and you create imbalances and everything else. Okay, so focusing on the in and out. So I'm going to start off with box breathing. So box breathing is quite widely known, and you can vary it to attune to what you want to work on, whether that's relaxation or towards energy bolstering, if you will. Okay, so gaining energy. So box breathing was originally invented as a system. It was, I don't know his name, but he was a Russian guy. He invented it as a means of treating asthma, or helping asthmatics to improve their lung capacity and their ability to have a focal point. Because when I was born with asthma, I don't really have asthma anymore. I've not had an asthma attack in years. Qigong, martial arts, all that kind of stuff kind of sorted that a lot, even though I smoked for like 20 or plus years as well. You can still hear it in the voice. And I vaped for years and everything else. Thankfully that's all in the past. But yeah, Qigong and just learning basic breathing really helps. Because one thing about asthma is, in Chinese, in TCM, it's actually a kidney yang deficiency. So the lungs are there to breathe in oxygen, but the kidneys are there to actually resource that and turn it into qi and take it down into qi hai and utilize it. And everyone I've seen who has asthma has a kidney yang deficiency, you know, over the last couple of years. So the box breathing itself is effectively, you breathe in for 4, and it's a nice easy one because there's 4 sides to a square, there's 4 corners, so start off with the count of 4. So much like yesterday I was saying, you can count in 1, out 1, and even visualize the 1 in and 1 out. You can do the same for that if you wish, but it is breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, hold your breath 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just continue that. If you are an asthmatic and you're trying to use this for the purpose of asthma attacks, you don't want to wait till you have an attack to start practicing this. You should practice this every day, ideally as many times a day as you can, and then start to expand. Once the 4, 4, 4, 4 gets easier, then you move on to 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, etc. That kind of stuff. So the longer you can slowly and work using day 17, especially using breathe 1, 2, 3, 4, and expand. So you're utilizing the entire body, filling everything, starting with the lower abdomen to the higher abdomen, to the side, to up the back. And then once you get to the very end of that, you can add a tiny sort of thoracic, because you've filled your lungs, but you've got a tiny bit of space still up here, and you can then expand the thoracic side. That leads into the next bit of breath work that we'll come into in a second. But yes, practice. So if you may even find that doing 4, 4, 4, 4 is difficult, or you may find that it's not. But when you do that, like notice what is difficult. Is it the lack of lung capacity, or is it anxiety of that? Where's my next breath coming from? I can't wait this. It's this impatience and anxiety. That is the biggest catalyst for asthma attacks. Yes, you can go out on dry ice, you can get exposed to cold and everything else. Kidney yang is all heat, kidney yin is all, so someone who's kidney yang deficient would have the disposition or propensity towards asthma, but would also feel cold all the time, would feel colder than the average person. Someone who's kidney yin deficient would generally always feel hot. They, even if it's like their body temperature doesn't read as hot, they feel hot inside all the time. They're also someone who probably can often struggle with sleep or staying asleep, etc. Kidney yang deficient would also always be what we call clear, frequent urination, so constantly needing to go to the toilet, far more than the average person, whereas a yin deficient would be far less. So a yang deficient person would pretend like two people went to a public house and both drank a pint. The kidney yang deficient person would probably need the toilet before they even finished the first one. The kidney yin deficient person probably wouldn't need the toilet till they were on like the end of pint number 2 or 3. So frequent clear urination is a clear sign of kidney yang deficiency, or indicative of. So that is a clear difference in that sense. So yes, most asthmatic attacks and most asthmatics experience triggers from cold, which is why a lot of ice rinks used to. I haven't been to an ice rink in years, but used to say stay off the ice if you're an asthmatic. Okay, so box breathing is a nice easy one. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, and start to expand it. Variations of that. So if you want to focus on release and calming towards the end of the day or just after a traumatic event, etc., then breathe in for, say, 4 if you wish, hold for 4, breathe out for 6 or 5, and then 6, and then on the next round 7, and on the next round 8, and then hold for 4. You'll probably find if you are really in that point of like sort of stress and that kind of stuff, you're really going to struggle at the first couple of repetitions. So it might be like a 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 3, or 2 2 3 2 2 2 3 2 2 2 4 2 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 5, that kind of thing. So you gradually start to slow, and as you start to regulate, you can start to take fuller breaths, which means you can then hold that for longer. And this is also training the mind. Holding the breath is a very important one, because if you breathe in, hold, breathe out, and then go straight back to breathing in, the holding in of the breath is the most important one if you are asthmatic, because you are giving kidney time to actually grasp and resource. So when I say kidney, it's not the physical kidneys, it's the energies that are also congruent with the kidneys and jing, effectively. So the kidney meridians, I say meridians, obviously there's one on either side, they go up, but also there are 2 variables of every meridian. There's the standard meridian of the 12 meridians. So for the kidney, it goes from the base of the foot here, goes up into kidney, effectively like kidney 2, kidney 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 9, into the back of the knee at 10, then comes up into the inguinal area, and then rejoins up here just above the pubic symphysis through 12 through 21, and then jumps out to here, and then comes up to about 27. Then it goes internal and joins the ears. There is another one called the tendina muscular variation. On the kidney, it is very different. Most ones have very similar with a couple of deviations or extra bits. But the kidney goes from the inside of the little toe and then comes through all of this. Still, the legs are very much the same, but once it gets to the pelvic area, instead of coming out the front here and being like John My access points, it goes into the spine and feeds the spinal cord, all the way up the spinal cord to the brain. So the kidney energy is responsible for the bone marrow, the bone, the spinal cord, the nervous system, the brain, Jing in itself. So it's tied to Jing, prenatal and postnatal Jing. Jing is effectively like your DNA. It's the most fundamental part of the physical body itself. So whenever we do anything that is Qigong, Dao Yin, etc. Some of like Dao Yin always has like 8 moves, and then it always goes one way, then goes the other way, and then does the next move one way, then and 8 different movements. There will always be at least one movement in there that addresses kidney, even if the focus is lung, even if the focus for the entire set is heart or that kind of stuff. There will always be something in there for kidney. Yeah. And whatever you do, any of those will always help with liver, because that's about chi stagnation and we're moving it. Okay, so focusing on the in-breath. So if you breathe in for, say, breathe in for 5 and hold for 4, breathe out for 3, hold for 3, that kind of thing. You are now focusing more on the culmination of chi. So you're trying to energize yourself for the day. So you focus on the in-breath. So take your 4-4-4 and extend the length of the in-breath and the length of the hold. Shorten the length of the out-breath and the length of that hold. And you are basically oxygenating the body. You're giving your body time to actually take the oxygen you've breathed in, hold it, and give it time to circulate. But TCM would say give kidney time to grasp it. But same thing, different language. One is thousands of years old and has, stood the test of time. One is more modern and is still expanding. So the other one, the other kind of breath work that I really want to touch on is something that I wish I knew many, many years ago, because I smoked for stupid amounts of years. That the so the tobacco industry, effectively, would never tell you this either. But tobacco and nicotine in general, including the vaping industry, tobacco and nicotine do not calm the nervous system. They do not calm you down in the slightest. If you get any kind of like little mellowing from that, it's from the breathing that is affiliated with smoking, and it is from the denying your brain oxygen by breathing in smoke or vape. So let me explain that. So there is now modern day science thing that proves that the quickest way to get your sympathetic nervous system down if in a time of stress is to do one long inhale followed by a sharp exhale and then an out breath. And you can vary this into box breathing as well if you want to put the 4th hold, but and gradually that will all slow down. Already I can feel the whole thing dropping down to the feet. And that is very much a grounding feeling for me, straight from body down to the feet. Very much like with the Silva method, Jose Silva. So yes, you can do it through the mouth. You can, and that is smoking. If you would put your hand there, that's what we do when we smoke with a vape. And people tend to take these long things, and at the end, try it. I mean, if you're a smoker, you will see the difference straight away. You'll go, that feels exactly. But because of the affiliation with smoke, when you first start, it will actually make you think, yeah, but there's something missing, and that's the smoke. But as far as the actual sort of down regulating your nervous system and getting yourself down into a calmer state, the breath work is enough. The tobacco itself actually, and nicotine itself, actually releases stress hormones into the body, so cortisol. So the more you smoke, the more cortisol your body keeps releasing, etc. So essentially that is it. It is the perfect little addiction. Effectively, you make people think they are getting calm every time they smoke, but actually every time they smoke, they are long term creating more cortisol in the body. And it's the breathing that creates that little respite from that stress. So, you know, the longer you smoke, the harder it is to quit. Yes, cutting down does help and everything else, but using that breath work and using some other things that can help to reduce cortisol, like polyphenols or polyphenols, if you want to call it that. White tea is a very good source of that, and it's something that's it's getting cheaper and cheaper nowadays, especially if you buy from India. But yes, so we are now 20 minutes again, so I'm going to try and leave it as short as possible. So those are some breathing techniques and everything else. Going to a very quick one from the Tao Te Ching itself. Right, so my teachings are easy to understand and easy to put into practice. Yet your intellect will never grasp them, and if you try to practice them, you'll fail. This is from the wording of the Tao itself, obviously. My teachings are older than the world. How can you grasp their meaning? If you want to know me, look inside your heart. Okay, that is everything for today. I will leave it there and see you tomorrow.